Daniel Cormier paid a visit to Ben Askren before UFC 319, and the two shared some laughs outside of the octagon. Known for his humor and playful personality, Askren posted a video on Instagram showing them playing a round of disc golf. In true Askren fashion, he couldn't resist a joke, captioning the clip, "Beating DC in disc golf is light work, even in my current condition." The playful jab immediately caught fans' attention and set the tone for a hilarious interaction between the two MMA favorites. The video showed them tossing discs while trading insults, almost like they were back in the cage, except this time the competition was frisbees instead of gloves. Askren, always ready to stir the pot, teased DC by saying all he needed to do was throw the disc farther to beat him. Cormier fired back, insisting he wasn't taking the game seriously and would dominate if he actually tried. At one point, Askren mocked DC after a poor throw, while DC countered by pointing out Askren's own, less than impressive efforts. Their lighthearted trash talk only escalated as the game went on. Askren repeatedly called DC out, saying things like, "That's not going to get it done." Whenever Cormier's throws fell short, when one of DC's discs clipped a tree, Askren burst into laughter, yelling advice like "flatten it out and snap the wrist if you want a chance." Surprisingly, Cormier actually tried some of his throws, did improve, but Askren refused to let him off the hook. Whenever DC thought he'd made a good throw, Askren immediately jumped in with, "Sit down, go sit down." The back and forth perfectly captured their chemistry. Both men are naturally competitive, but neither can resist cracking jokes and poking fun at each other. These moments are a reminder of why Daniel Cormier and Ben Askren remain so beloved even after retiring from fighting. Their larger-than-life personalities shine through, whether it's podcasts, social media clips, or even something as simple as disc golf. Disc golf may not sound like a big deal, but when you put two former fighters with huge personalities on the same course, it instantly becomes must-watch entertainment. It's clear Askren wasn't going to let DC walk away with bragging rights. And judging by their rivalry, this probably won't be their last friendly competition. Fans are already excited to see what the next chapter of their hilarious battles outside the octagon will look like. Before moving on to the next news, we'd like to make a quick request. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Now moving to our second big news, Robert Whittaker has given his full reaction to Khamzat Chimaev's dominant victory over Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319, and the former champion had nothing but praise for what he saw inside the octagon. Speaking on the MMA Arcade podcast, Whittaker admitted he was genuinely blown away by Chimaev's ability to maintain such a relentless pace for 5 straight rounds against one of the toughest middleweights in the division. He explained that going into the fight, everyone expected Chimaev to come out strong in the opening round. Nobody was shocked when he immediately shot for the takedown and controlled the fight on the mat early. That's what people have come to expect from Chimaev: aggressive start, explosive pressure, and heavy top control. But what really caught Whittaker's attention was the fact that Khamzat didn't slow down. He kept the same intensity, the same grinding pressure, and the same level of control for all 25 minutes. According to Whittaker, that was the most impressive part of the entire fight. He even described it as mind-blowing, stressing that most fighters in the division would fade after 2 or 3 rounds if they tried to keep that pace. Yet seemed comfortable, almost thriving in that chaos, while continuing to pour it on without giving Du Plessis any breathing room. Reflecting on his own experience facing Chimaev, Whittaker broke down what makes him so difficult once he gets you down. He explained that Chimaev doesn't just secure a position and stall. Instead, he's constantly working, forcing his opponent to deal with multiple threats at once. Whether it's peeling away your knees, shifting to body locks, looking for hooks, or dropping short but damaging punches and elbows, Khamzat never stops attacking. That endless stream of pressure makes it almost impossible to stand back up. Whittaker described it as feeling like you're carrying Chimaev's entire weight for the whole round, all while getting peppered with strikes and dealing with constant positional changes. He gives you 4 to 6 different things to think about every second, Rob explained, and he does it while sagging on you and making you carry his weight the entire time. Despite his admiration for Chimaev, Whittaker also credited Du Plessis for showing heart and finding small windows of success, reminding everyone that it takes a very strong fighter to even survive under that kind of pressure. According to him, both men impressed him in different ways, but Chimaev's consistency stood out the most. Whittaker summed it up by saying that Chimaev didn't just win at UFC 319, he proved something much bigger. He proved that his style isn't just dangerous in short bursts, but it actually holds up over the long haul against elite competition. For Whittaker, that performance cemented Chimaev as a true threat to anyone in the division, and he admitted he walked away from the fight more impressed than ever before. Now, moving to another news asterisk, Khamzat Chimaev has officially responded to the backlash surrounding his so-called boring performance against Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. Despite walking away as the brand new UFC middleweight champion, the narrative after the fight was split. While some praised his dominance, many fans criticized the bout for not living up to the fireworks they had expected. The criticism hit harder because of the reputation Khamzat had built leading into this fight. He wasn't known for cautious fight. Instead, he was famous for blitzing opponents in the first round, overwhelming them with pressure, and either securing a submission or a TKO before fans even had time to sit down. That aura of destruction was a big part of why people tuned in. Fans were expecting another storm, another wild and chaotic war, but instead, they got 5 rounds of suffocating dominance that, while technically brilliant, left some feeling underwhelmed. Even Dana White admitted after the event that he thought the fight would be a banger and was surprised it played out the way it did, with Khamzat grinding out a decision instead of delivering his trademark highlight reel finish. But here's the thing, Khamzat didn't shy away from the criticism. He didn't ignore it, and he didn't brush it off. At the post-fight press conference, he addressed it head-on. The first thing he made clear was his willingness to get back inside the octagon as quickly as possible. He said he's already ready to fight in Abu Dhabi in just 2 months, proving he's not planning to sit on the belt. He even floated the idea of moving back down to welterweight to face the winner of Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Motta, showing just how ambitious and fearless he still is. The most surprising part of his reaction came when he actually apologized to Dana White for not securing the finish. Khamzat admitted he felt bad for not delivering the kind of fight fans expected. He gave plenty of credit to Du Plessis, praising the South African for his toughness and refusing to go down under constant pressure. According to Khamzat, he did everything he could, but Du Plessis' grit and durability prevented an early stoppage. Interestingly, Khamzat also revealed that his team encouraged him to see the positives in this performance. They told him it might actually be good for his career to go the full 25 minutes, giving him experience that will help in future championship fights. He agreed with that assessment, saying he learned a lot, but he still felt the need to apologize for leaving fans unsatisfied, and even said sorry directly to Dana White. "I like finishes," he admitted. "I tried in the last seconds but made a mistake." That moment showed a different side of Khamzat Chimaev. He was still confident, still dangerous, but also self-aware enough to acknowledge the fan reaction. He reminded everyone that he dominated everywhere in both striking and wrestling, and that Du Plessis' toughness was the only reason the fight went to a decision. In the end, Khamzat proved he's not just a one-round monster. He can dominate for 5 full rounds, carry his relentless pace, and still be ready to fight again immediately. Whether fans loved it or not, he left no doubt about who the better fighter was at UFC 300. Demetrius Johnson has stepped in to defend Khamzat Chimaev from the wave of online criticism that erupted after his victory over Dricus Du Plessis. Known for speaking his mind, Mighty Mouse didn't mince words. He fired back at fans, saying bluntly that if people don't enjoy grappling and wrestling, then maybe the UFC simply isn't for them. Johnson, widely regarded as one of the most technically gifted fighters in MMA history, made it clear that the backlash against Chimaev was unfair. "If you don't want to see that style," Johnson said, "there's a simple fix: just hit the off button." He emphasized that people complaining about Chimaev's dominant grappling were exaggerating the issue. This response was classic Demetrius Johnson: direct, unapologetic, and rooted in his respect for technique. Throughout his legendary career, Johnson relied heavily on grappling transitions and high-level control to outclass opponents. He reminded fans that dominance is dominance, whether it comes in the form of a knockout or a 5-round display of control. It still deserves recognition. Johnson. The criticism toward Chimaev revealed a deeper problem with how some fans view MMA. Too many tune in expecting only knockouts and wild exchanges, forgetting that mixed martial arts is meant to showcase every aspect of combat striking: wrestling, grappling, submissions, and strategy. If a fighter can impose their game plan for 25 minutes without letting their opponent breathe, Johnson argued, that's the highest level of mastery. He pointed out that fighters like Chimaev make the sport what it truly is: unpredictable, multi-dimensional, and tactical. If you can't appreciate the technical side of the game, Johnson added, then maybe this sport isn't for you. By defending Chimaev, Johnson also highlighted a bigger issue: the constant pressure fighters face to deliver entertainment rather than simply winning effectively. He made it clear that fighters don't owe fans reckless brawls. What they owe is their best performance inside the cage. In the end, Johnson's defense sent a strong message. Fans can complain all they want, but those who truly understand MMA know that Khamzat Chimaev's victory was a masterclass in control and conditioning. Whether thrilling to watch or not, the fact remains he completely neutralized a dangerous opponent and walked away with the belt. For fighters like Demetrius Johnson, that is the true definition of greatness. Now moving on to Dana White, who had some pretty strong words when asked about Jon Jones. Reporters pressed Dana on the possibility of Jones headlining the upcoming White House card, but the UFC president immediately shut that talk down. According to Dana, The chances of that happening are, in his words, 1,000,000,000 to 1. He explained bluntly that he simply doesn't trust Jon enough to put him on such a massive, high-profile stage. This isn't about fighting skills. Nobody questions Jones's talent, but about reliability, professionalism, and the ability to represent the UFC at one of the most visible events in combat sports history. For Dana, the risk outweighs the reward. When asked if Jones could do anything in the next few months to earn that trust back, Dana's answer was an emphatic no. He doubled down, saying there's no scenario where he would be comfortable with Jones headlining that type of card. He even revealed he hasn't spoken with Jon in a long time, highlighting the strained relationship between the two. Despite Jones's legendary status, it's clear the UFC is looking at other options for its biggest showcases. Dana also provided updates on several fighters. Coming out of UFC 319, he confirmed that Aaron Pico suffered a concussion from Lauren Murphy's vicious spinning elbow and will undergo further medical checks before making a return. Dana emphasized the importance of fighter safety, noting how seriously the UFC takes concussions, especially after such a heavy impact shot. As for the night's biggest talking point, Khamzat Chimaev's dominant win over Dricus Du Plessis, Dana gave full credit to Chimaev. He said the fight was completely one-sided, scoring every round for Chimaev except maybe the final one. He was particularly impressed with Chimaev's control in the grappling exchanges, where Dricus had no way out. At the same time, Dana praised Du Plessis for his toughness. Even when locked in brutal positions like the crucifix, Dricus refused to quit. While Chimaev's punches weren't knockout shots, Dana noted they added up, causing swelling, damage, and visible fatigue. He admitted it must have been extremely frustrating for Dricus to be stuck without being able to mount any offense, yet he respected the way he kept battling until the final bell. Dana's comments painted a clear picture. Jon Jones won't be getting the spotlight anytime soon. Aaron Pico will need time to recover, and Khamzat Chimaev continues to solidify his reputation as one of the most dominant forces in the sport today. Finally, let's wrap things up with Khamzat Chimaev's response to Sean Strickland. At the UFC 319 post-fight press conference, reporters brought up Sean's recent comments where he claimed that back when they trained together, he was able to out-wrestle. As soon as the question was asked, Khamzat burst out laughing. The idea that Sean was the one getting the better of him in the gym clearly didn't sit with him, and he wasted no time in dismissing the claim altogether. Bro, they could take him down many times, but how can he take me down? Come on, Khamzat said with a big smile. His confidence was undeniable. He went on to explain that not only did he hold his own in training, but he dominated Sean everywhere, in wrestling, in striking, and in overall intensity. According to Khamzat, there was no part of the game where Sean had an advantage. He doubled down on the point, saying that people who actually trained with him know the reality. In his view, Sean's story about out-wrestling him is nothing more than an attempt to get attention. He never take me down. I take him down. I smash him, Khamzat said, brushing it off as nothing more than talk. He also called Sean a funny guy, making it clear that he doesn't take his words too seriously. Khamzat pointed out that Sean has recently been training with Paulo Costa, which opened the door for more jokes. Laughing again, Khamzat said he could beat both of them at the same time and that neither posed a real problem for him. The way he said it made the whole room laugh, but it also highlighted the level of confidence he carries. What stood out most in this exchange was Khamzat's calm yet playful demeanor. He didn't look rattled by Sean's comments, nor did he feel the need to defend his reputation with anger. Instead, he turned the entire situation into a joke, reminding everyone that he sees himself on a completely different level compared to fighters like Strickland and Costa. These kinds of comments are just background noise, nothing that can shake his self-belief. This reaction also shows the mindset of a fighter who is at the peak of his confidence. Khamzat knows that his dominant victory at UFC 319 speaks louder than anything said online or in interviews. He doesn't need to prove himself with words, but when given the opportunity, he makes sure to remind everyone that he views himself as untouchable. Fans watching the press conference noted that this was classic Khamzat, unapologetically confident, playful with his words, and unwilling to give any credit to rivals trying to discredit him. Whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying that Khamzat knows how to keep the spotlight firmly on himself. His victory, his playful dismissal of Sean Strickland's claims, and his bold confidence once again proved that he remains one of the most fascinating figures in MMA today.